This is appchasers.com. Today we're taking a look at an app that you might have heard of in the past. It's called Fantastical 2 by Flexibits. Yet this time it's available on the iPad. Previously it was only an iPhone app, but we're going to take a look at what makes this app so special and really one of our preferred apps on the iPad. So you can see here we've got Fantastical 2 for iPad open in the iTunes App Store here. But let's take a look at the app itself. I'm just going to switch right over to Fantastical. Now you'll notice when we first bring it up, we've got a view, a really nicely laid out view here that shows our week up at the top, and it's scrollable. We've got on the left-hand side our day ticker, which is also scrollable. That shows us all our events and tasks that are coming up. And then in the main view here on the right lower, we've got our month view that shows us a little preview of events that we have scheduled on our calendar as little colored dots. And those all relate to what's shown in the week view above and what's on the day ticker view to the left. Now this is how the app looks when we first open it up, but let's go ahead and get into our settings, which is available up here on the upper left-hand side. So we'll click on settings here. One of the first things I did, although Fantastical 2 is a beautifully designed app, I prefer the light theme. You can just toggle that on right here in the settings. So you notice right in the background here, we've got a new light theme. Makes it a little bit easier to read. Let's get back into settings here and we'll show you some of the other things that we can set. Up in the calendars, that's our first topic here. We'll go into that. And now I've got all my calendars actually in my native iPhone and iPad apps, but these will sync to Fantastical 2. Now I have iCloud also enabled, so each of these calendars will sync across all my devices, including my Mac, which also has Fantastical 2 on it. Now, you see I've got a few different categories here of calendars that I've already created, but you can go ahead and create some new ones. If you just click on the Edit button, you can add a calendar right here, and you can designate what color it should use, what the name of the calendar is, and so forth. You can also go ahead and click off calendars that maybe you don't want to show up. So if you share calendars or you want to share events across maybe you and your spouse's devices, and your spouse doesn't need to see all the calendars that you have, perhaps pertaining to work, you can toggle those calendars on and off on each device. So we'll go back here into our main settings view, and you can see we've got our app icon badge too. So right on the home screen of your device, you can decide whether or not you want to show an icon badge, such as the date or the day of the week, the month, the calendar week, and you can also show how many events you have to do that day. We'll go back here into our settings app, and we've got text expander support here, which is another great app that we encourage you to take a look at. We've got our default alerts that we can set. So anytime we create a new event in the future, we can have it default to remind us of that event or alert us maybe 15 minutes before, a day before, and so forth. We've also got our default duration for events that we set, a default calendar. So these will be all the events. Unless we specify a certain calendar, it'll default to this one that we set here. We've got reminders that are also supported in Fantastical that sync with your reminders on your iOS device. And we've got a few other options here that we can toggle on and off and set as we please. So let's go back here and we'll show you exactly how to set an event. One of the cool things that I like about Fantastical 2 on the iPad, and it also works with the iPhone, is its natural language input. So that means that when you go to input a new event, it's not going to bring up the default dialog box that asks you, okay, what's this event named? When do you want it to be? What calendar do you want it to add to? And when do you want to be alerted? But instead, Fantastical 2 uses a really neat interface that allows you to type just as you would speak. And it knows how to compile that event just based on natural typing. Let's create an event now, and we'll show you exactly how that's done. So right here, we've got our cursor blinking here. We can just go ahead and start typing in. So watch what I do here. Okay, now you notice here I just said on Friday, have lunch with John at 11. So it knows to go ahead and create an event called Have Lunch with John at 11 a.m. on the upcoming Friday. So a really neat way to do that. Now, another neat feature with adding an event to Fantastical 2 is using iOS built-in dictation feature. Now, you might have used this before. It's actually available system-wide in iOS. But it's the little microphone button down to the left of the space bar. You can use this to speak new events into Fantastical 2. I'll show you what I mean here. Let's click on the microphone and watch what happens. Next Wednesday, 8 p.m., dinner with John, calendar Eric. So you'll watch as Fantastical 2 adds a new event based on what I just said there. And the cool thing is it adds it to the calendar that I specify. In this case, the calendar is called Eric. So dinner with John, 8 p.m., Wednesday, which would be next Wednesday, April 9th, and it adds it to the calendar Eric. So it's a really neat way that Fantastical uses natural typing, natural language, whether it's typing or speech, to add new events. Now, let's go ahead and go over here to the 9th. Now, when I click on the 9th here in month view, you'll notice that the week view at the top scrolls over, and we can also see in our day ticker here on the left, Dinner with John, which shows us all of our upcoming events, whether they're on the current day or not. Let's click on Dinner with John, and you'll bring up our view of this event. We can change the calendar here. We can show as busy. We can set an alert as well. So you can edit your events after you've created them. Now, within Fantastical 2, you can also change how big of a week view you have, which will show you the names of your events right there, which you can't see in the default view here. But if you scroll down all the way, you can see a nicely laid out week view with the names of your events. I prefer to have it half and half. So have our week view at the top half, our month view here on the bottom right, and our day ticker on the bottom left. So overall, Fantastical 2 is an awesome way to add new events to your calendar, to add reminders, to take a look at your reminders that you've added with Siri or by other means, maybe manual input in the Reminders app. It's a great way to see all your upcoming events, and it really shows it in a beautiful layout here that we really love here at App Chasers. So go check out Fantastical 2 for iPad and check out Fantastical 2 for iPhone while you're at it.